Hey guys, welcome back to RC Video Reviews. Today I'm covering the build review of the Precision Aerobatics Katana MX. Okay, before I get into the build review, I just want to give a big shout out to Precision Aerobatics because after I posted the Thrust 50 motor test, they came into the channel. We had some discussion about the results, and while we're having a little bit of debate, the important takeaway is that they are the manufacturer of these products and they're participating in the channel. So they're out there, they're talking to us, they're explaining their point of view, and that's all good stuff. You guys are the beneficiaries of that. So I do want to give a shout out to PA for coming in and talking with us about the motor test results on the Thrust 50. All right, let's get into the assembly review of this Katana MX. One of the things I want to point out right off the bat is that you do have to strengthen the motor box. I'm not sure of the backstory behind that, but what I know today is that they give you some material, some carbon fiber plates, some fiberglass, and they give you some very specific instructions on strengthening that motor box, specifically in the firewall area. So I don't know if it's been like that from the start or not, but that's the way it is today. They don't make any secret of it though, and it's in the instructions. And they have videos showing you how to do it. It's not hard. It just takes a little bit of time. So just be aware of that. And then as far as the assembly goes, the only other real issue that I had was that my horizontal stabilizer was not close to parallel with my tube. I had to do a lot of sanding on the port lower side of that saddle for that horizontal stabilizer. But I got it worked out. I was a little surprised at that given the quality of fit and finish on everything else with this plane. Other than having to sand that horizontal stabilizer saddle, there was no other significant defect with this plane. Everything else went together pretty strong. So with that in mind, let's talk about some of the specifics you're going to want to be aware of. The first one is pay attention to this connectivity down here on all of the control surfaces. They all use the same thing. You've got a carbon fiber control horn, a screw type metal clevis, a carbon fiber push rod, a carbon fiber servo extension arm, and a ball link connector. That to me is the gold standard in connectivity between the servo and the control surface. It is literally the gold standard. Now, one thing I have to talk to you about and make sure you understand, when you set this up, do not use a servo centering tool for that servo. Bind your radio, connect it to your radio, set your trims and sub trims to 0, and let your radio zero that servo out, because I'm here to tell you that I have never seen a servo centering tool center exactly where my radio centers. I've always been able to correct that by using the threads on the ball link or the clevis to make adjustments. I can screw them tighter or looser and adjust it once I bind the radio. But in this case, you can't adjust that. That's fixed. The only way you can adjust it is with trim. So I highly recommend that you use your radio and zero the servo with your radio first, because you have to glue those in, and once they're in, that's it. That's it. You're done. There's no help after that. Ailerons are the same way. In fact, even though I used my radio and did the best I could, after everything was said and done, one of the ailerons was still off just a little bit. So what I did to fix that was I put each aileron on its own channel, which allows me to dial center in for the aileron, for each aileron individually, and that's how I resolved that. I just had one aileron that was like a millimeter too high, and I wasn't satisfied with that, so I used 2 different aileron channels, and I used the trim to adjust so both ailerons were equal. But it's the same arrangement on the horns. You've got the carbon fiber, the screw type clevis, carbon fiber rod, carbon fiber servo extension, and a ball link. So again, gold standard in terms of connectivity. You can see that I've got my elevator servo right back here, and my rudder servo is right here on the other side. So I just want to point those out. It's right here. Now, the reason I'm sharing that with you is because inside there's also a servo tray, and when I did the unbox, I said, well, there's a servo tray in there, but I wasn't sure what it was for. And it turns out that's if you want to use a pull-pull arrangement on your airplane. I didn't. Mine balanced fine the way it sits, so I went with the standard or conventional rudder arrangement, and it's working fine. And then there's my S6R radio, and then the batteries. I have the batteries set like that for balance, so one of the 2200s is pushed forward just a little bit, and that gives me the balance at 120 millimeters, which is what Precision Aerobatics recommends for IMAX style or sport flying. So a little bit of a more forward CG in order to lend a little bit of stability. And for my early flights, that's fine with me. A little bit nose heavy, not a bad thing. I can live with that. and I also got a Vox 15x8 prop to go with it. So I am using, from the motor forward, all the recommended hardware that Precision Aerobatics suggests. I mentioned in the first look video that they engage in active cooling on the setup, and I really wanted to give you a look at that. So right in here there are plastic scoops. Now that's as far as my finger can go, and that scoop redirects air to the motor can, which is right here, and they use the plastic scoop to direct air right over that motor. Very highly engineered product, and that I think is the very key takeaway for this whole airplane, is that this has got to be one of the most highly engineered RC planes I've ever seen. And the result of that is an airframe that goes together very well. Fit and finish is superb, and it's very light as well. One more thing up front that I need to share: if you're not familiar with the tape method for installing a cowling, you need to teach yourself that, because the tabs on this are very small and there's very little movement fore and aft for that cowling. So you have no room to be inaccurate. It has to be accurate. I would recommend, if you don't know how to do the tape method for installing a cowl on this plane, that you teach yourself. Well, that's all I've got on the build review for the Precision Aerobatics Katana MX. I hope you find that information useful. If you're not a subscriber to RC Video Reviews, I would definitely appreciate your subscription. It helps smaller channels like mine get video placement, and it helps my videos show up when people search for this type of material. If you are a subscriber, you know I appreciate you. Keep up the comments, thumbs up, thumbs down. Any interaction that you make with the video is helpful, so I appreciate that. Don't forget to check out the t-shirt store, and don't forget to use my Amazon affiliate links if you need consumable RC equipment. All right, that's all I've got for now. Take it easy. One of them, god dang, man, come on. Now I mentioned in the unbox, I mentioned in the build, no. All right, one last little tidbit, and then we'll get moving on to the next segment, and that, come on, John. It helps smaller channels like mine get video placement, and for you though,